Jai Jagannath. Hello students. Today we will discuss the artificial method of vegetative reproduction in plants. So, as we all know that the vegetative reproduction is a mode of asexual reproduction. Artificial method of vegetative reproduction occurs in some plants which cannot grow by sexual method of reproduction. So these plants can grow by artificial method of reproduction. And these methods of artificial mode of reproduction may be cutting, layering, grafting or micropropagation. The types are cutting, layering, grafting, and the last one is micropropagation. So these are the most important methods of artificial method of vegetative reproduction. So first we discuss about cutting. In case of cutting any portion of a plant, okay. So first we discuss about cutting. Cutting is a artificial method in which any portion, just like the leaf or the root or the stem, has to be cut and planted in the soil, and adventitious roots, a shoot system develop, and finally the cutting part of the plant grow as a new plant. And the cutting process, if the cutting process occurs by the stem, it is known as stem cutting, and if the cutting process is done by the leaf, it is known as leaf cutting process, and if the cutting process is done by the root, then it is known as root cutting. So leaf cutting, shoot cutting, leaf cutting, then stem cutting and root cutting are the main three cutting processes. And this method is, suppose let me write down, if the cutting is done by the leaf, then this is known as leaf cutting method, and if the cutting is done by the stem, this is known as stem cutting method, and if the cutting is done by the root, then this is known as root cutting method. And this cutting methods is practiced in plants like lemon, rose, China rose, then bryophyllum and begonia. These are the most important plants in which the cutting process is practiced. Now we discuss about the next process, important process of artificial vegetative reproduction, layering. So layering is a very important process of vegetative reproduction, in which actually layering process is a method in which a root is induced artificially in the stem branch before it detaches from the parent plant for propagation. Layering is a process in which a root is induced artificially. Okay, we have to induce a root artificially in stem branch before it detaches from parent plant. And there are two main types of layering, two methods. It includes two methods. Number one, mound layering, and number two, air layering or Gutti method. So first we discuss about mound layering. Okay, mound layering is most common in some herbaceous plant. So first we discuss about mound layering. The most important things about mound layering is that it is most common in herbaceous plant, because in herbaceous plant the lower stem branch is just above the soil surface and in first step the lower stem branch is defoliated. Important thing first, herbaceous plants which is the lower stem branch. Suppose this is soil and this is the plant or this is the herbs below the soil surface. Suppose this is the lower stem branch, and in lower stem branch the first the defoliation process is occur or done. Then in defoliated region a cut or injury is made in this defoliated region, and this cut or injury is made in form of oblique or in form of V shape, or it can be in form of ring of bark. And if the injury is made in the form of oblique, then we can call it tongue. And if the cutting or injury is made in the form of V shape, then we can call it notching. And if the ring of bark is made, then we can call it ringing. So in defoliated region a cut or injury is made artificially, and this cut or injury can be made by three processes. First, we can cut or make an injury just like obliquely, and if we make it, it is known as tonguing. And if we made a V-shaped cut or injury, then this is known as notching. And if we make a ring of bark shape, ring shape in bark, then we can call it ringing. So after the defoliation process, a cut or injury is made. First defoliation, then cut or injury is made. Now suppose this is the lower stem branch and this portion is defoliated and an injury is made here. So now we have to bend this stem branch to the ground and covered with moist soil in such a way that the growing tip of the stem branch remain above the soil. Let me draw the diagram. Suppose now we we bend the stem branch to the soil or to the ground and covered with moist soil. Here these are moist soil. This is the main or mother plant, and this is the growing tip, in such a way that the growing tip remains above the soil surface. And another important thing, this portion now is known as layer. This defoliated portion bent towards the soil and the growing tip remains above the soil surface. This stem branch is known as layer. Important thing. Now after some few days, the layer here, due to the moist soil, in this growing tip adventitious roots are formed. These are the adventitious roots, and we can cut here. Now the layer or this part is free and we can plant it, or it can be planted in the soil independently. And this process is practiced in plants like cherry, then jasmine, grapevine, okay, strawberry, etc. These are the plants in which the mound layering process is done. The important thing that first the defoliation, then a injury is made, 3 processes. Obliquely, if obliquely, then we can call it tonguing or tonguing, then notching, then ringing. If the injury is made in ring of in the bark, in ring shape in the bark, and this branch or stem branch is known as layer. Now we discuss about air layering. Air layering is otherwise known as Gutti process. In this method, actually air layering process is very common method in shrubs and trees, because they have stem branch but they have no there is no stem branch below near the ground level or near the soil level. And in shrubs or trees, the layering or the air layering process is done in, or the best season for the air layering is the early monsoon rainy seasons. And in air layering process, first the ring of bark is removed, and in this portion, the removal portion or in removed portion, the clay, the grafting clay or the moss is wrapped with a polythene. First, it is a most common method in shrubs and trees, okay, and the best season or the favorable season for air layering is early monsoon rain. And in first step, the removal, first we have to remove a ring of bark for a distance of 2 to 5 centimeter. Important thing. Let me draw the diagram. Suppose this is the parent plant here. Okay, soil level. This is the stem branch. And first the removal of bark, and the distance is 2 to 5 centimeter. Now in this portion we have to wrap a polythene, and the grafting clay or the moist moss is added here, or the cutting portion, sorry, or the now the removal portion is wrapped with a polythene, or is wrapped with the moist soil or grafting clay with a polythene. Here important thing, grafting clay or moist moss. The grafting clay is a combination of clay, cow dung plus cot hay, cotton plus water. The grafting clay, important thing, the clay, cow dung, finely cot hay, cotton and water. And this grafting clay is wrapped through a polythene, by a polythene. Here suppose this is wrapped with a polythene. Now this is the polythene, and remember this wrapped portion is known as booty. And another thing, in grafting clay sometimes the rooting hormone is added for rotation. After some few days or few weeks, adventitious roots are developed here, and we can now cut this portion with the root from the parent plant. It is a new plant. Now we can plant it on soil, or we can, now it can be planted in soil, or we can plant it on soil. And the process, the air layering process, is done in some plants like, for the examples, important thing, the wrapped portion is known as booty, the polythene, and after few weeks the polythene is removed. Actually the polythene is wrapped to preserve moisture, and after some week when the root is formed here, the polythene is removed. Now we can cut it and plant it on soil. The example of plants: lemon, guava, then orange, and rubber plant. These are the plants. So now we will discuss about grafting. Grafting is an operation. Actually, grafting is an operation. Next, grafting. So it is an operation. Grafting is an operation in which two closely related varieties or species unite to grow together. Okay. and it is a special feature of dicotyledon, because in dicotyledons the vascular cambium is well developed, and during the period of grafting the vascular cambium fuse with each other very clearly. The important thing, it is a unique feature of dicotyledons due to well vascular system. Next, the plant in which graft is done, important, is known as stalk, and the plant which is inserted in the stalk is known as scion, or you can call it graft. Important thing, the plant in which graft is done known as stalk, and in which the plant which is inserted in the stalk is known as scion, or we can call it graft. Actually the stalk belongs to a wide variety of species which is disease resistance and pest resistance. Vigorous growth occurs in the variety, and also it have a efficient root system for absorption of water. But the scion has a poor root system, but the qualities of scion is better variety of fruits and flowers. Okay, the stalk wild varieties and the scion. Wild varieties include just like vigorous growth, then actually the stock belongs to wild varieties which include vigorous growth and efficient root system, then resistance power against insects and pests. The scion include the varieties just like better varieties of fruits and flowers. Actually the grafting is done to transfer the genetic character from the stalk to scion. Here now the new variety, suppose we done the graft process. Now the new variety include fruits, flowers with a strong root system and resistance power for the transfer of genetic characters. And the proper month or a proper season for the grafting is from February to June. This month is best suitable for the plant for grafting. Okay. Now we discuss about micropropagation. Micropropagation is a tissue culture process, and this process is done in some horticultural or agricultural crops. So micro means small. We have to propagate a small part of a plant, and this part is chosen, and this small micro part first sterilized and after sterilization this small part now introduced or grown in a nutrient medium. Okay, it is a tissue culture method and a small part of a plant, a cell or a tissue is taken for micropropagation, and the small part is now sterilized and grown in a growth nutrients medium. Growth nutrients medium. Actually, this growth nutrients medium contain the nutrients which is necessary for the plant part, and also contain some growth hormones just like auxin 240 and gibberellin. And by utilizing these growth nutrients and hormones, the plant part replicate to form a undifferentiated group of tissue known as callus. Important thing, group of tissue is formed from the small part known as callus. And now the callus, in callus root system, shoot system develop, and a plantlet is developed from the callus. Now the plantlet is ready to grow in the greenhouses, and after some week it can be provided to the farmers and can be planted in the soil. It is ready now. So this is all about micropropagation and artificial methods of vegetative reproduction. Okay, thank you.